In this video, I'm going to talk about the graduate project for the Technology for Educators class. And in the email that I'm sending you, you will receive a link to this folder, this Google folder, which includes 5 things, and you need to make a copy of all of them. The first one you need to look at, though, is this Technology for Educators graduate project description, which shows you that the project actually includes several different things. Obviously, you'll create a Google folder and you will place your copy of this document in there. And also you'll make a copy of this document, but actually I think I put it right here. I just wanted you to know exactly what document it was. So if you haven't created one already, you can create one at this point. But what it is the project proposal that you will be filling out as you are thinking through what you want to do for your graduate project. And this is the document that is due the 4th week of class. And so, and it's due by Friday, September 14th. And so let me talk to you about the project itself. There are 3 different components to this project, and they have different due dates along the way. And the first one is a research paper of about 3 to 5 pages, and you are going to be exploring the research that has to do with technology integration, one-to-one, which means having a device for every student, mobile learning, or some other specific strand of content that has a technology slant to it, but within your specific content area, if you can find enough information. You might have to go a little bit more general, but I would like for you to really make it connect to your content area. But you need to remember, whatever the focus of your research paper is, you actually have to tie it into the second part of your project below, which I'll talk about the action research part in just a minute. So for the proposal, which I have over here, you need to write a little description of your paper's focus. So choose one of those areas or come up with one on your own. If you want to ask me about it, email me and let me, we can work it out together as well. And then for this part of it, for the research paper, and this is just for the proposal part of it, you need to have researched at least 3 different scholarly articles and give me right here on this document their APA citation, and just copy and paste the abstract from the article, because this needs to be an article that's found in a scholarly journal that you find within a database. No online resources at this point. Now, so those are the 2 things for your research paper that you need for the proposal part. Now, going back over here, you actually need at least 3 peer-reviewed scholarly articles, and then you need at least 3 to 5 more resources, which can be from internet sources. But you also need to think about where those resources are from, evaluate the author of that source before using it. And if you have a question, just let me know and ask me if I think it is valuable to use. I'll answer that as well. So on this document, I also show for the proposal part, you need this, and this goes on this document. And then by the end of the project, or by whenever your paper is due, you will need to include at least 6 to 8 peer-reviewed scholarly articles, books, and other resources. I didn't change that yet. All right. So that's the first part, the research paper, and that one is due Friday, October 5th. So I try to give you about a month in between each one. So then the second part of your project is the action research project, and this involves 3 different parts to it: an observation in a one-to-one classroom, or an e-Mints classroom if you're elementary, which neither one of you are, but I can share this video in the future if there are e-Mints or elementary classrooms represented, or a classroom that has readily available devices and resources. So if you have a class of students who are 20 to 25 students, but they share a Chromebook cart in their grade level, that's fine. The teacher just has to be close enough that you can travel to this teacher's school and observe him or her in action for at least 1 hour. So you need to be able to go to that classroom. You also need to make sure that that teacher actually uses those devices in the classroom setting. So you might want to, after you contact that person, you might want to just have a little short conversation, phone call or something to make sure that that you are able to interview them. Because if the teacher has the devices and doesn't use them, then that's not where you want to be. So you're going to do an observation, and for the proposal part back over here on this document, you are going to show me that you have thought about the teachers you possibly could contact. So have a couple of different options here, list the names and the schools where they teach. And then the second thing you'll do is start brainstorming some things that you would look for during that day of observation and what you'll be paying attention to. And along the way of this course, what you're learning might impact and change what you're looking for. But I just want you to start the thinking process here. And so that is what you need to put on the proposal document. By the end of the project, for this part of the observation, you will write a summary of your observations for the hour that you observed, and you'll just write several paragraphs about what you'll address the teacher, the students, the tools, the spaces, and other elements that you viewed as important. So you'll basically write just a little reflection paragraph about your observation. The second part of the action research is the interview. So whenever you go and observe this teacher, it would be helpful if you could just schedule the interview at the same time. But if you can't, then you can contact them later over the phone or Skype or Google Hangout. Don't do your interview over email. I want it to be a personal experience where you can ask questions that you might not be planning on, but that they kind of just come up. So for this part, you need to, in the interview part on your proposal document, you need to compose a list of interview questions that you plan to use, at least 5. And it is okay if these change, but this is just kind of to get you thinking along the way. Okay, so by the end of the project, you need to have 10, but just for the proposal, you need to start with 5. So you'll need to have at least 10 interview questions by the end, by the time you actually do the interview. And have that teacher email me to verify that you went, and then you'll write a summary of your teacher's interview responses. So don't transcribe the interview for me, not a word for word anything. You're just going to have a summary of what the teacher said and describe it in paragraph form, of course, what happened during the interview. And then you will write a final reflection of at least 2 pages of your whole experience, connecting it to your literature. So you're going to, if the literature talked about that these teachers have they like taking risks, and they have supportive administrators, and they have access to technology all the time, you are going to connect that, what you find in your interview and your observation, you're going to connect that back to the literature. So that's where you're showing that you're what you're finding, and you're connecting it to from the research to your actual experiment or your actual action research. Okay. I do put it in here if you'd like to do something different for the reflection portion besides writing. Let me know if you want to reflect by video or podcast or something. We can do that. Now, for the proposal part, you'll notice nothing is needed for the reflection part in the proposal stage. Obviously, you're going to write the reflection after it's all over, so that makes sense. But by the end of the project, you'll complete the paper according to those directions. And then the third part of your project overall is the professional presentation. And you are going to actually, I'm going to add this here, you're going to actually create a VoiceThread. And you're going to actually use VoiceThread a couple of different times throughout this course. And so you'll probably be pretty proficient at it by the time you get to this part of the project. And so during that presentation, you'll create a Google Slides presentation, and you will include information from both your research section and your action research. So the interview and the observation. You'll include the important components that to teach your peers about your graduate's project. And so again, you do not need anything in the proposal for this part, but your presentation materials, your VoiceThread, complete VoiceThread, will be due to me by Friday, November 30th, which is a week before you're going to share it with your peers in the class. And that's because I just want to make sure that it is thorough and you do a good job of teaching the students about your project. And that is it. So I hope I haven't confused you by having too many things on here. I was trying to streamline it. So this document right here is the thing that is due by the 4th week of class. And so it's due September 14th. And so that will help you get started. And then you can refer back to this document that you have in your shared folder as you go through and remember what you need to do to complete each section. I would also recommend that you put these dates on your calendar because we do have these dates along the way, and that will be helpful as well. The other thing that you need to do is make a copy of each one of these rubrics because they correspond to each one of the sections of your project. And so whenever I do go back and grade that after the due date, your project feedback and your grades will be on the 3 rubrics that you make copies of and put them in your own shared folder. Okay, I hope that this is helpful to you, and I hope that if you have any questions along the way, that you will not hesitate to contact me and that we can work it out. If you just want to brainstorm some things, I would love to do that as well. Just send me an email and we can work it out. All right, that's it.